All right. So welcome to the Mulberry Creek Hour. We're just about to go live, and we've got such a show today. I can't even tell you. I'm like buzzing. We got Perry Chafe coming on to talk about his brand new book, and then we got DC and Rich Sapka. I think that's his name. That's how to pronounce his name. From Era's coming on after that. It's gonna be awesome. Can't even wait. Jam-packed. All good. So that's the news. Are you serious? Do you wanna introduce the show and I'll play for that?
We'll both introduce the show.
Welcome to the Mulberry Creek Hour. I'm Vicki Morgan, joined by my ever-loving, wonderful partner in everything, Josh Morgan. Josh, say hey.
What the ever-loving Josh Morgan. Hello.
I'm a little bit nervous today. I gotta say, I'm really, in honor of the people that are coming on the show today. Sometimes when I get nervous, I get a pimple, and sometimes I've got two different guests, like two different sections on the thing. So I have pimples. I'm very excited. Josh is over waving at me. So he's behind the board today, and I'm over here where the guests are going to be. So we've got Perry Chafe, Donnie Cody, and
we got a full house today.
Full house. It's going to be a full house. So welcome, and of course you're listening on CHMR. It's Tuesday at 5 o'clock, so obviously it's time for the Mulberry Creek Hour, right?
It's time.
So what are we going to do today, Josh? I'm going to jam a song in, I guess.
Are you going to play a song?
Let everybody know, of course, that we do have an EP out from Mulberry Creek. And
you're not only a radio host, but you're also a musician yourself?
Well, I just want to make sure people remember that Mulberry Creek is a band. We're not just these effervescent, lovely, delightful people that host a radio show on Tuesdays.
Am I effervescent?
You're effervescent. You're bubbling over there. You should see him. He's like a bottle of Eno. Da 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 da. No, nobody. See, I can't do jokes on the radio because there's no audience. I don't get.
And I'm not from here, so I don't get it.
I don't get immediate feedback, so it's a different beast on the radio. Anyway, this is Jimmy Glenn off the new EP. Pictures of all you missed. You can tell me all about a boy or girl you kissed. We'll pretend like all the years that passed don't mean a thing. My baby's all named after you. Where are you, Jimmy Glenn? Did you save the world? You raged against our simple life. Couldn't be your mother, I was someone else's wife. Watched your back as you were leaving, hair flying in the wind. Each night I checked the mailbox for the postcards I've sent. Jimmy Glenn, have you seen Jimmy Glenn? Jimmy Glenn, where are you, Jimmy Glenn? No calls or texts or letters, in silence when I tried. Hanging to the past you said before you said goodbye. I never really knew I held you back with my closed mind. One day you might come back and see the life you cannot find. I prayed every night that you were happy, safe and loved, until I stopped believing someone's listening above. Still searching for my brother, Montreal's your last stop. Jimmy Glenn is out there somewhere, so where are you, Coppertop? Jimmy Glenn, have you seen Jimmy Glenn? Jimmy Glenn, where are you, Jimmy Glenn? Jimmy Glenn, can you hear me? Can this song soften your heart? Jimmy Glenn, it still beats for you, I knew it from the start. Couldn't be all that you needed, but I'll give it all I've got. Jimmy Glenn, you can come back home and give it one more shot. I'll say it in a song, don't know where I went wrong. Piece of me still missing, can't believe that you're still gone. Jimmy Glenn, have you seen Jimmy Glenn? So that that's on the new EP. That one goes out from my brother. His name is actually Glenn James, but he's like real strange about people knowing his name and stuff on the internet. So I changed it, and it rang better. So I produced that one with Corey Tedford, of course, and it's on the new album. So. And now we can move on to the next part of the show, which I'm so excited about. Couldn't even sleep. I'm not even kidding. Couldn't sleep. Perry Chafe is in the studio today on the Mulberry Creek Hour. Perry Chafe, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. What a beautiful song.
Well, thank you very much, man.
This is, where can we get this?
That is at Fred's O'Brien's.
We got it at the Battery Cafe.
It's at the Battery Cafe. And of course, you can get it on Mulberry Creek and get it right from us. So.
Or Atlantic Music.
Atlantic Music and Bandcamp. Yeah, you can
This
download
is incredible. What a beautiful song.
Thank you. And it's on. There's another song on there that Alan Hocko really enjoys. It's Garden Party, and there's a line in there that, of course, he was doing the fundraisers for Daffodil Bites.
Right.
And was doing. You could get a private message from Alan Hocko from Cameo, and so we sent him a message and said, "We got this new single out," and he listened to it and he likes Garden Party. He found it kind of funny, so I like that one. So that's always a nice feather
He's got
in my
great
cap.
taste, so absolutely.
Well, thank you. So Perry Chafe, if you're listening, if you haven't been living under a rock for the last 25 years that you've been doing this stuff, right? Perry Chafe changed the face of TV, I think, in Newfoundland. He really did. I mean, you go back to when myself and your partner Maureen Ennis were youngsters. WGB was a big show. There was a variety and there was music and stuff. And then there was this like lull where pretty much, I don't know if there was much TV coming out of Newfoundland, but then along comes, I remember just as Josh and I were leaving Newfoundland many moons ago, and a friend of ours said, "I think I'm getting into TV." I was like, "Oh, honey, that's not going anywhere."
Here?
Nobody does TV in Newfoundland. And then shortly after we went, of course, Republic of the Well came on the scene, which changed the face. And so we were watching that like maniacs down in Maine, ironic. But we were watching it, and we were watching all the background scenes, and like, wait a minute, that was down on Torway Road, and then they went to Kenmore Road, like. So
oh no way! Yeah, what's that street?
Some of the cuts were like, wait a second, that field is not out in Torway. Anyway. Oh, fantastic. So I want to say what a big fan I am of all your work.
Thank you.
And of course, Perry Chafe was the director and writer and co-producer. Tell me what the titles were with Republic of the Well.
Republic of the Well, I co-created with Alan Hocko, you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
And I wrote on it as well for 6 seasons, 78 episodes.
Oh my gosh. And then, of course, that went down across, that's on, it's international, right?
It went to, we were at one point, now even, I think we're in over 100 countries.
Unbelievable.
Like, amazing. But we built on an industry. There was an industry here with some great producers like the late Paul Pope and Mary Sexton and Barb Dorn. So they did a wonderful job building a foundation. But what we were fortunate enough to do is sort of bring in almost like an anchor show that you could actually build an industry, help build an industry around. Sit for 4 or 5 months of the year. You knew the crews and production team knew that they had a TV show, which helped develop other shows and build skill sets that people use today. So we were very fortunate.
And then so you started off with Republic of Doyle. Was that the first?
That was
Republic of Doyle, and then Frontier came after that.
Yeah, it was Republic of Doyle, and I wrote and produced on Frontier with our company, Take the Shot Productions. With Jason Momoa, and we all know Jason.
Oh my God!
My goodness,
yes,
lovely fellow.
Delicious young man.
Aquaman, of course. I mean, it's pretty good when you got Aquaman.
He was also on Baywatch.
Oh, that's right, he was.
Back in the day.
That's right.
That was our time.
That was well done. And then we produced a limited series called Hot. Lisa Moore's book, a wonderful book. Lisa is such a wonderful writer. We did that for a season, and now we're co-producing, and I'm writing on Son of a Critch.
Unbelievable.
About a radio station. Actually, this actually reminds me of VOCM a little bit.
Right.
And it's so cool, the whole WKR vibe here.
Back in the day, like Mike Critch was like a hero in our house. It was. I just remember my brothers doing impressions, and my older brother went to school with Mark, of course. And so you never know with people, right? Like you never know who you're sitting next to in class that's going to be like an international superstar. And of course, Mark is like the most amazing. Sweet. I should say sweet.
Humble,
I really like that about him.
A genius. One of the hardest workers I've ever worked with. Talent. I'm
and humble. Just really like inward and humble, and you'd never know what a rock star
And
he's
really so involved in the community and charities and giving back.
Yeah.
I could go on about it, but he's only paid me to do so long. He's paid me to say it.
The check is going to clear already.
I'm reading from what he wrote in the script. This is how good I am. No, I'm a huge fan, and I think most people are who meet him.
Yeah. VOCM, I started off actually VOCM 25 years ago and trained Candace Udall.
No way.
I did. Yeah. So there you go, right? I mean, I had nothing to do. I didn't contribute to her career whatsoever. But back in the day, we were both stringers at VOCM.
Awesome.
And I was not cut out for stringers because I remember the show that the gig I went to was like a fire.
Right.
And they were saying back in the studio, make sure you ask if they had insurance. And I was like, these people are standing on the sidewalk in their sock feet with like sooty water running down in the gutter. I just couldn't. I couldn't do the news. I'm more of an entertainment.
Right.
This is more my bag here.
But you're amazing at it. So.
Oh my God.
Again,
And the check is on the way. Right, Josh, make sure you cut that check to Terry Chafe.
I'm reading again. Right, I'm reading from the script. This is what Vicky said to say.
Very
Josh, you back me up.
easy to direct. I love that.
Oh.
So then Frontier came after that, Son of a Critch, which are just like amazing stuff coming out of Newfoundland. And of course, there's so many movies being made here as well.
Oh my God.
The film industry here now is a thing to do.
It really is. And I think last year, the year before, we broke 100 million in production coming into the province. And then the spin-offs from that, of course. And the benefits. It's just been incredible. So we're just getting. I used to say we're the best kept secret, but we're not secret anymore.
Not anymore.
Like
No.
when Peter Pan comes here, that you've done it.
It's still hard to get to, so we're still fairly, there's still a lot of privacy here and a lot of space. You can't really get on this island if you're, one of the bad criminals. We'll know you're here. We'll know long because the boat's 18 hours, so we'll know. We got a good lead time, and we can all hide in the middle of the rock if there's any real bad guys coming.
That's
or
right.
women. There's bad women too. Oh my God! I just totally went blank because I just realized I'm in a room with Perry Chafe.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Mind.
So the writing thing really fascinates me because you're in a writing room. And I just finished an arts grant. This is all about me. I just finished writing an arts grant because I'm writing a comedy book. My first one was very sad and all that stuff. So I wanted to I want to be a comedy writer. And so I sent an arts grant application in and I said, as far as I know, there's no committee that'll come to your door and say, we heard that you're kind of thinking about doing writing or whatever, creative, that you'd be really funny on stage, even though you've never tried it ever.
Here's a book deal.
Did that committee, is there a committee that's out? I mean, am I wrong? Or do you actually have to try the thing that you want to be doing professionally? Or is there a committee that intuitively knows who's out in the city right now wanting to try something but has never tried it, and you take a gamble on them and give them $50,000 contract off the top of your head?
Well, no, I think there might be a committee. I mean, you'd be amazing. I would support you.
Oh, sweetheart. Oh,
if it was up to me,
but is there no committee that came to your door and said, Perry, we heard you want to be a writer?
Oh my God, no. I wish that would make so much easier. But I came out late. I was 39. When,
bless your heart.
When we hit Republic of Doyle, so it's never too late to do anything. You know? And then I just put out my first book at the age of a little bit later in life. So it's funny when things hit and then you try things, and I'm a big believer in just sort of trying to manifest what you want, and you're really working hard from there, and if it's meant to be, it'll happen.
Did you imagine a book when you say manifest?
I did. I really felt that I had something that I wanted to say in a book, and not in a. I thought that Closer by Sea, I wanted to do a novel because I think it lent itself to that more, say, than just writing a script.
Absolutely.
They're all very difficult things to do, but I wanted to create a world, and I thought in a novel I could do that better than a script. And
I would imagine too, when you're producing a show, which you've done many times, and to tell a story that people will be able to perceive in the way you intended it. There's camera angles and lighting and weather and all these other elements. But in a book, you could actually have somebody's full attention and say, okay, so over in the corner is a really pretty young woman, and she's looking lovingly at this young man, and they're thinking about, you can actually tell stories that you can't, voiceovers, or you can't do a voiceover in a TV show and not be completely, you know what I mean, to tell the backstories and stuff. It's the book is you really have somebody's attention, and it's almost like time travel, because someone will pick this book up in 50 years and will be transported to the world that you created in 2023. Right?
Oh my goodness!
It's really fascinating, and they stay around. Of course, TV and stuff will be around as well, and movies and all those things. But books are just the smell of it. I just got a copy of the book, and it was just flicking through the pages is so. Just gorgeous, right? It's such a beautiful.
Oh, thank you, and Simon & Schuster did such a wonderful job with it, and Scribner. I'm just delighted and to be part of that team. But I had a lot of great people working with me on it.
So tell me about the process. Was the book? So when you got the deal with Simon & Schuster, who are really fantastic to deal with, they're and promoting this. It's been weeks now, so everybody knows this book has come out. Today is actually the release day. Congratulations on the official release date. It is everywhere you can buy your books. It's on all the online platforms, and it's in all the bookstores, which is that's amazing, right? It should be wherever you can put your hand on it, and that's exactly what they've done. It really is available.
Everywhere, which is incredible, that kind of support.
So I know I went to an event I think 2 years ago, and you mentioned then that you were working on a book.
Yes.
So what is the process? Does someone, like, do you get signed on to a book deal and then you have to go write it?
Yeah, pretty
Ooh,
much. This one, I
scary.
met an editor named Anita Provenost, who I sort of pitched it to loosely, and she liked the idea, and then she had some notes which were amazing, and I fine-tuned it, and we had a book. And I met her through Alan Doyle, who'd just done his book some...
Was that his
13
third,
years ago.
fourth, seventh?
His very
which
first one.
His very first one.
Yeah, and that was, so I met Nita about, I guess, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, and we got talking, and she said, there's a book in you, so we should talk a bit more.
Wow.
And then I put it off because the shows hit, and then it was like there was very little time to do it. And when COVID hit, I had a bit of a break between shows, and I said, I really want to tell this story. So I contacted Nita again, and she was all over getting started with it. Now, Nita's, at that time, had just released her book, and she is Nita Prose, who has the #1 book on the New York Times bestseller list. The Maid, a wonderful book. If you get a chance to read it,
Is that the one that was made into a movie?
Yeah, it's going to be made into a movie. Yeah, it's.
Has it been
I'm
already?
not sure if it's started yet or not, but a beautiful book. But that's how good she is. So that was my editor, her and Janie Yoon from Simon Schuster, and they're two of the greatest editors you could have. And
So you had, how much of the story was in your mind before you put pen to paper?
Pretty much almost all of it, because I come from the TV world, I sort of map things out, and I need to know if it's going to be where a season's going, or where a full 6-season arc would go. So I mapped it all out, chapter by chapter, before I started, and I sort of followed that.
Like an episode Bible, like a character Bible.
Really, like a character Bible. That's funny you mentioned that. And then instead of acts, I would focus on chapters and where the twists and turns. I tried to write it in a way that each chapter you want to keep going. There's a twist on the end where you don't want to put it down.
Right.
And that's, I guess, the TV writer in me, where you want to get to the act out, which is a commercial break, but you want people to come back after the commercial. It's like, please don't go away from the commercial, so let's have an explosion.
I used to read a lot of Dean Koontz when I was younger, and his was like, I always found that it'd be a chapter about a character, and it would get to this climax, this crazy point, and then it would go to another character. And it'd be like, what? I want to know what happened. And then the same thing would happen again, and I totally forget about that other character. It's like, just like you said, just like, what's happening? What's going to happen? I gotta
get back.
It's a cliffhanger.
Story A,
every
story
chapter.
B, commercial break, story A, story B.
Absolutely, and great storytelling, like gets, you want to go back to every character.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, what about that
You gotta
story?
follow it through.
Same with television. Like, I've been watching a lot of Ted Lasso, and they do stories lately that I'm like, I love every character. So when they do that jump around, I'm like, oh no, don't go. Oh no, I love this story.
Yeah. Oh wait, this is good.
Yeah, this is going to be great. But same in novels. It's just good writers do that. They just hook you.
Yeah.
No matter what.
And
story
I think
becomes.
there's people that not everybody's called or inspired to write books. Doesn't that blow your mind? Doesn't it, like, that everybody in the city wants the thing that you're doing? Like, that blows my mind away, because some people want to be geologists, some people want to be, I don't know, Jason Momoa, but like, and then there's like this thing that when you're called to do the thing, you trust it, right?
Yeah, just follow it, and really, you have nothing to lose by just jumping in that creative pool and seeing where it goes. Because if it's not this, it could lead to something else.
Yeah,
and it usually does. It'll turn into a song, or it'll turn
Absolutely.
into a TV show, or it'll turn into an awesome program that you guys are doing. You know what I mean? Like, it'll go somewhere.
Well, there's something to it. There's something to the creative process that, you never know. I know when we were making a show a few years ago, I ordered a puppet, a Muppet version of me, and I was like, I don't know why. Josh, I'm sorry, I don't know why. And when it arrived from New Jersey, we ended up ordering puppets of all the kids. Like, our whole family has puppet versions. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. You can, 2023, May 23rd, still no idea what I'm going to do with puppets.
They're
but
fun,
they're
though.
there. And I made Nick dolls like that. Because during the pandemic, right, everybody was locking down, doing different things.
Learning how to do something new.
Yeah, so I made these little dolls, and that ended up becoming a thing, and it's just amazing that one thing leads on to another. And sometimes just sitting there crocheting, it's like, wait, you know what would work? And I'm working on a book doing the same thing. It's like, you know what,
Amazing.
that part doesn't work. I should put it in, but it came from a dishcloth. Like,
Right.
that's really, having been able to sit still with, I don't know if it's adult attention deficit or whatever, which we probably all have.
Oh my God! I
Most
think
of us probably
most
have it.
creative people do. I think. I'm
Yeah.
not sure that.
But it does kind of lead to that thing. So here's a question I have. This is more of a like emotional, psychological question. How does it feel? Because you've done this a lot of times. But can you go back to very early days when you were creating a world and not cringing when you shared it and put it out there? Like, how do you deal with that cringe of, oh my God, people are going to know what's in my brain, what's in my heart? Like, you're sharing a piece of your heart and soul, right?
Absolutely.
How do you how do you make that muscle stronger?
Well, I think you eventually develop a thick skin because you need to believe in what you're doing, and those who there will always be naysayers or those who just don't like it, and that's okay. I know there's things I don't like. I'm sure there's things you don't like, and that doesn't mean the work is bad. It just means it's not for me. This was an interesting one because my name is on the book. Everything you described before has always been collaborative.
Yeah.
So whether I'm writing songs with the awesome Maureen Ennis, or I'm writing with my writing partner Alan Hocko, and now Mark Critch, they're very collaborative. And even in writing shows, you're in a writing room, and there's other people, so there's lots of names on it, you know. So you get to spread that out. But with this, it's sort of a solo project, and I had everything you're describing. I had moments of that, like, oh no, this is just me on this. This I'm wearing this,
yeah.
And at the same time, which is amazing because I wanted to have something completely on my own.
Wow. But
at the same time, that comes in. But I just really believe in the work, and I believe in the art.
Yeah.
I'm just to the point where if you like it, I'm delighted.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to talk to you about it like we're doing now.
Yeah.
And if it's not for you, that's okay. There's
Totally.
things that are not for me either. Just I just appreciate you giving it a chance.
So it's really just taste.
Really?
So our very first show, which is the book I'm working on, is based on. It's called How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking. And then it failed. Amazing, right? It failed, but it was because I thought it was hilarious, and it was Stephen King wrote a book called On Writing, and it's all about how the good ideas, the ones that you're supposed to do, come back to you. Even if it's 2:00 in the morning and you don't write it down, it'll come back. Mm-hmm. So this idea has been kicking around now for years, and then we ended up pitching it to a broadcaster, and they loved the idea, but then when it was made, they were like, "No, by now this is not for us." Not for us. And I was creatively devastated for the last 3 years. It's been a long time, like crawling back up and going, "Oh my God, how do I ever believe in myself again?" And the idea was a book in the first place. So I'm starting to going back to you know what, this was an idea that I liked, and I can engage people. But as far as taste goes, in Ontario and Quebec, hated it. They did not find me funny. They said, this isn't funny at all. Don't ever tell anybody you had anything to do with it. I'm like, you know what? You're going to not come out great in the book, let me tell you.
I'm getting revenge. I take names.
Well, it's an informative, I changed everybody's names, and it's an informative, how to pick yourself back up, which I'm still learning. And the funny thing was, the stories that came from the experience of it failing made a much better story. Because I had failed a bunch, and it got back up, but it's not really failing, it's mistakes. And when you're eager and enthusiastic and all that stuff.
But you learn from it. So
you learn from it every single day.
I fail every day.
Absolutely.
And I learn from it.
So tell me about, you mentioned Lisa Moore when you did Caught.
Oh,
it
yes.
was an adaptation of Lisa Moore's novel.
It was.
So do you see this, because you've already got it in acts and do you ever see this becoming?
I do. In the back of my mind when I was writing it, I sort of had the idea that it would make a great movie or a limited series.
Yeah.
But when you read it, there's a lot of big moving parts. There's icebergs, and there's deserted islands, and there's boats, and there's giant sea creatures and all this sort of stuff, all in the realm of reality. So it would be challenging, but I love challenges. So to do it properly, and I wanted to do justice to it because there's a lot of Newfoundland history in here, and which I have a history degree. So the other part of it is I wanted to get our story right, especially around the moratorium, because that plays a big part in the book. Nice. 30 years later, here we are, and still codfish didn't come back. Yeah. So I do see it as being a good adaptation.
So you mentioned that you do co-write sometimes with Maureen Ennis, of course, of the Ennis sisters, who've been around since time began. They've been really 25 years. I think they celebrated last year.
Amazing,
right?
Hey?
I don't know how they can get along that well for that long, without fisticuffs, and maybe that happens. I don't know. But I mean,
behind the scenes, I have stories. No, they're so talented and wonderful. And their music is timeless, and they're still making amazing music. And having written with Maureen, having the pleasure of written with her these songs, I really understand how good she is now. She's such a gifted songwriter.
At a young, I'm talking 12, I think, when she first started. I remember the first scratch tracks I heard of Maureen's were, I think we were about 12 or 13 years old. Yeah, back then,
that's right.
She knew that long.
So she
knew back
then.
Longer
than I have. I mean,
absolutely.
And then, the songs she writes are so poignant and so beautiful, things like Sing You Home.
I know.
Gotta make you cry.
Turn the guts right out of you.
Oh my God, what a song. And then, and their Juno winners and those songs they wrote in their Juno days,
That's another best kept kept secret. I know they've won some awards and stuff, but that is one of those gems that's like, my God.
How you doing back there, Maureen?
That's right. Her head is swelling.
You're reading the script.
I'm reading right from Maureen's. She says to say this.
So I'm wondering though, do you have any, when you see like this film idea, do you hear like some of the score? Like do you see anything in songs now that you've been with Maureen for such a long time?
I do, yeah. And some of the songs we've already written sort of play along those lines. There's a song we wrote called the Boat Builder song, Last of a Kind, which was on one of the second last album they put out, and it's a beautiful song about the boat building tradition.
Yep.
And it talks about how it's a tradition that's slowly dying off and is one generation away from being forgotten about, which is so sad. There's some people keeping it alive, and bless them, but some of the trad music, I can hear the score in my head when I was writing it, and a lot of it was stuff by Maureen Ennis and the Ennis sisters and Alan Doyle.
Yeah.
You know, how talented is that guy? So it's in my head, and I can hear a beautiful, almost how the Irish do their movie. You know, that beautiful, almost like a wave going through when it's produced properly, music-wise. And we have some great music producers as well.
Oh my God. I heard an image one place, so I don't even remember where it was, but it was something about like if someone, you look at a piece of marble and somebody's sculpting the marble, it's not really that they're sculpting it, is that it's in the marble already and you're just chipping away the pieces.
Yes.
And I feel like this movie, it's a book. I just want to make that clear. Closer by Sea is a book and it's out today. And we're talking about a movie or a limited series.
I like where you're
can
going.
see it because it's in the room and you can, having that ability to envision something is amazing. And some people go absolutely bonkers. They don't know that it's an actual creative flow that's happening, and they don't know what to do with it. And then there's other people who can put legs under it and be the producers and be the people who bring film to Newfoundland or TV shows and all these things. So it's amazing. Like the energy from you right now, I know you can't tell this on the radio, or I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a light around Perry Chafe that's like just this visionary, just this person that sees things. And then of course, so I'm going to show this copy. This is actually Perry's copy.
This is for the benefit of our Facebook Live.
It has notes in it. Yeah, we are on Facebook Live if you want to watch
see this on the radio.
want to follow along on the Mulberry Creek Hour. So this is actually Closer by Sea, and it's available on all the platforms.
Everywhere.
And it's officially came out today. And I was going to mention to everybody that there's a launch tomorrow at the Rooms, and the Ennis sisters are going to be performing, but you're already too late. Sold out. What does that say? I mean, Newfoundlanders are known for waiting until the very last minute, and we were too. We didn't. I thought there'd be tickets because it's the Rooms. How many people can you fit in the Rooms?
It's huge.
But there's no tickets left. So you can get the book online, and of course, I'm sure there'll be events around the city over the summer.
There will. There'll be a bunch of signings and some readings and so on all over, including my hometown of Petty Harbour. I think we're doing one in June, around June 9th, I think. But and they'll be on my website, perrychafe.com.
So we'll put links to that in the comments in the show, and of course this will be on YouTube. And we'll put the links to that as well. I got a Petty Harbour question.
Yes.
We were up there the other night. We just went out for a drive. It was Mother's Day. What is on the go in Petty Harbour? Like, is there something in the water? Like, is there like the water supply that gets
It's
out
like a
there?
magical little place.
But
Really
the
is.
telling. That's a little, there's like 15 houses out there. And
It's
we
like
had,
St. John's is great, but have you seen Petty Harbour?
and there's a zip line that goes all the way up through the mountains. But the amount of talent that came out of Petty Harbour, and not like 20 years later, like you and Alan Doyle are pretty close in age, right?
Well, it's funny. We went from kindergarten together right up through high school, and we actually lived together when we went to university. We graduated at the same time. So, we've known each other a fair bit.
So
a few years.
I believe Alan has a degree in religious studies. Yours is in history.
Right.
Josh's is in English. Well, I'm a big fan. Josh's is in English and linguistics, and mine is in communications and marketing. And of course, we'd be musicians.
And here we
Why
are.
would I bother to use an education?
Only
We
makes
both
sense.
have education degrees too, and it's like, why are you on the radio? I don't know. Because you
Well,
just.
thank goodness you are. You're doing a wicked job.
Well, it's fun. All the
And,
things lead into one thing. And so what it does bring is a little bit of confidence in, you know what, I do know how to give people a platform. Like if that's all that came from a communications degree and work, and of course broadcasting. I mean, is some amazing gig because I can call people in and go, hey, Perry Chafe, want to be on a radio show?
And I'm like, absolutely.
But if I walked up to you on the side of the road and said, hey, want to write a show together?
You want to
You'd
sit
be
down,
like, who are
and talk
you?
for an hour?
Stop calling me. But it is such an opportunity, and it is like those things that all kind of dovetail together so beautifully. It's amazing. So I'm looking forward to this book. I didn't read it in advance because I find I was already so intimidated to hang out with you anyway.
I'm the one intimidated.
So I didn't. Oh my God.
Thank you for the opportunity.
What a sweetheart.
And when you read it, I'd love to get your thoughts on it.
Absolutely. And are you working on it? Oh, so I do want to ask this before we go. so you signed the contract, and
Yes.
then you had to fill in the gaps. Was there any pressure? Like, did you feel like, did it block you at all, or were you able to put that aside and go just do your creative process?
No, because I guess it's the television training again, because we're so deadline oriented.
Yeah.
It's like, this took me a year and a half to write. In the script world, it's very hard to. I have such respect for screenwriters. Sometimes you have a week or two to write a script.
Right. And it comes
you gotta
faster.
get going.
What's that? There's a rule of, there's the time frame. If you put a deadline on it, you will fill it in that time frame. But if you spread it out and give yourself 4 years to write
It'll
it,
take you 4 years.
it'll take you 4
Absolutely.
years, right?
And Alan Doyle talks about it all the time. He always says, "Give me a deadline." And he's, one of the hardest working people also I've ever met.
He's a fountain of, like, what's he going to do
my
next?
God. Yeah,
Right?
he's pretty amazing.
It's hard to put him in a box and say he's a writer or a musician. He's all the things
he'll do it
because
all.
he's, is again,
He'll
attention.
be giving
to-
tours out on the water.
It's the ADD thing. It's the creative people that can't sit still and put a pen in their hand.
Alan Doyle teaches archery.
Oh,
So
he
what
will,
I'm wondering too about, like, we've been bouncing the idea around of having like writing groups or songwriting groups where people are accountable each week. I know I did a class years ago with Sean Painting, and every week I said, "There's no way I'm writing a song in a week." It took me 42 years to write the first one, but every week people would show up with at least one song. So that deadline and accountability in a creative environment, and not just that, but the frequency you get on when you're around creative people. I feel like I've got 3 or 4 more books in me just after talking to Perry. So
There you go.
There you
I
go.
have no doubt you do.
God
You
love
have
them.
books.
He's so sweet.
You have books.
Thank you so much. And Maureen, and seriously, Maureen Ennis, thanks for taking such good care of Perry Chafe. He's a national treasure, and vice versa. Perry Chafe, thank you for taking such good care of Maureen Ennis, because also national treasure. And it's such an honor to be in Newfoundland at the same time as you people.
Oh, my
Really,
God.
I'm so
Yes.
glad we moved home. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Make sure you check out Perry Chafe, Closer by Sea, on all the platforms, Amazon, Indigo, all of those. I can't
All
think of
the
all
places.
because I'm older. And it's on, of course, it's in all the bookstores. You can actually get a hard copy with paper. There's an actual paper copy that you can get. So make sure you check that out. And you cannot go to the book launch tomorrow, but check it out over the summer. I'm sure there'll be lots of launches. And there's lots of Inner Sisters coming up, too, over the summer. So make sure you stay tuned to the Mulberry Creek Hour. We'll be right back after this. I should have warned you we were going to break.
Oh, no, that was amazing.
Holy shit!
Thank you, guys.
I don't remember any of it, but I'm sure it was.
I forget-
You were amazing. Both of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I'm really,
Oh my
really.
God, and I-
Congratulations on the book. This
Oh
is
my
like
God.
seriously. Thanks for all the stuff you're doing. Like putting your name on it is amazing because it's all like little beacons right that are going on. Like Newfoundland is talented, I swear.
Let's bring more people in. That's our
Bring them all
thing.
in.
Come on
And I
in,
was thinking
work
about all the
business.
money that he's created. Like all that crew that got paid, they went out and shopped at like the farmers market and the local stores, and those folks get to go. The money gets. It's like multiplies by 10 times when you give it to them.
Oh, many times. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The spin-offs are incredible. And
It's
this
amazing.
The smug is ours?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
And
you
the-
can have CD too.
And
And the CD, no
yes.
way.
The first song has swear words in it. Mom
Thank you.
said, "You're never going to get that on the radio with swear words." And I said, "Watch me."
It's such a barter system. Here's a book, give me a CD. That's the plan. It's like,
So much. Safe home,
thank
guys.
you, Vicky.
Absolutely.
That was
Thank you,
lovely.
Gary.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Best of
Thanks,
luck. We'll be in
Josh.
touch.
Really appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
So we won't see you tomorrow night, but we'll see you over the summer. What
We're
are
in the
chances?
theater, I know. So, but we
What a
will see you
room,
again.
though. What a room. What a spot. It's gorgeous. What a
Let's follow them out and we'll get Donnie and
Yes,
Well, that's
super
where you
down.
guys
Thank you
got
guys so much. How awesome was that? Loves him. Anyway, so we got 2 more guests coming in now. We got Donnie Cody and Richard Safecut. I have no idea what time it is. I've lost all feeling. We're playing Sean Painting. That's lovely. So Josh is out exchanging everybody in the waiting room. That was amazing. I can't wait to read the book. He brought a copy for me.
I've been in here
My copy
before.
from Chief.
Multiple times. Hey, my sweet.
So we got
How's
these
it
two.
going?
Good.
These
My
two
God,
for you
you're
guys.
stunning.
Well, thank you.
You're a dreamboat. Donnie, what are you doing to me?
What up, baby? Hey, yo! Oh, what's going on?
It's amazing. Oh my
Good
God,
to see
welcome,
you.
welcome, welcome.
I like the dress.
We're back
Oh,
in 50s.
I crocheted this literally last night.
That's amazing.
Thank
Dude,
you.
I saw someone with a crochet jacket on, and I stopped in the grocery store. I was like, girl, you know what's up. Thank you.
Seriously,
And now
it's
here you are.
it's a stress reliever, and man, is it crazy.
You made it yourself?
Last night.
What?
Oh,
No!
God. I
same
started
way.
off making dishcloths, and that got too boring because it was just a square, and I was like, I want to make a dress. And I finished it last night, sewing into stuff literally this afternoon.
That's amazing.
What a breeze blowing through. We're
What
out
a
in the cold
breeze.
Newfoundland air.
Love it.
Thank you. So I call this my dishcloth dress.
Oh, I think it's amazing.
Before I forget
coaster.
These mugs are for you guys.
Oh my God!
That's a
thank
lovely,
you so
that's a lovely
much.
parting gift for being on the show.
Mulberry Creek, more like. I love these.
Are we still rolling on this over here? Do we need to reset it?
Oh, David Suzuki, I love him.
Turn the page, babies.
Okay,
He's
so we
handing it
got
over to his daughter, actually.
20
Good.
seconds. We got 1 minute.
All right, let me reset.
Still rolling here. I'm actually gonna break it up. So it doesn't cut off on us.
You guys are old pros at this now.
Josh just downloaded all the shows that we've been doing, so we put them on YouTube. And there was Facebook Lives we've been doing for 5 months. So there was 20 shows.
Oh.
Bonkers. And then we've been doing it since before the pandemic. So what was the year? What year did the pandemic start?
23.
2019.
So we started March
Oh,
6th. March
yeah,
17th was our first show.
That's
March
crazy.
17th, and the university shut down the next day.
Would
So we started
Rich-
doing it at home.
Would Rich want to slink back for this cam?
Yes, let's slide you over to your mic. Oh, we need a microphone, Josh. We need a
Or we
microphone,
can
baby. Nope, we don't need
Oh,
that.
that's a good idea.
Well, then you move over a little bit.
Yeah, I'm still a little spaced. We're good?
Yeah, I want you in here too, V.
So I'm just gonna say anything.
Fabulous. D and
20 seconds.
B, C and
But
B
I
and
don't
Rick.
want you
Rich,
out
how
of
do
the
you
game
pronounce
here. You don't
Separate.
mind,
I'll
yeah?
holler if I need to.
I'm calling you Sifka. I'll fix it right now.
That's okay.
Saps.
Yeah, Sipka is also like an Austrian way to pronounce it, but Sepka is.
Okay, we're back in 5 seconds.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome back to the Mulberry Creek Hour. I'm Vicki Morgan. I'm just collecting myself from that experience of sitting in the same room with Perry Chafe, and then it just keeps on rolling because I said this earlier at the beginning of the show. Sometimes when I'm really anxious, I get a pimple. Usually right in the middle of my forehead. I got up this morning and I had two because I had Perry Chafe in the first half and Eras in the second half. So I literally got a little growth going on my face. We don't need to dwell on that.
But is your all-seeing eye is the third?
Yes, on my
Right?
cheek though, and I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
man, I must be anxious, and like not anxious, excitement and anxious, exactly.
They're
the same.
kissing cousins.
They
They're
are
exactly the same
They live on the same
frequency.
street.
Yeah.
So when I have a show that I'm going to, like I've noticed this over the last few years, when I have a show, when I have like a nervous belly and I'm in the bathroom for most of the day before I go to a show, I call that excitement now, not anxiety.
Oh,
and
definitely.
Own it.
It changes the
Definitely.
color of it
Definitely.
because
It does.
there is like there is kind of an environment, like a space you get in and an energy that you get into.
So true.
Eras. Tell us about Eras. So we've got Rich Sepka. Sepka. Just
You're going the Austrian
literally
pronunciation.
Yeah,
just
that's the Austrian pronunciation,
Yeah,
so I
exactly.
appreciate that.
Rich Sepka.
Here in North America, it's Sepka.
And listen, there's a bunch. Your name has changed a few times since we've known each other in high school.
Oh, wow.
So are you DC? Are you Donnie? Are you Don? Capital
I'm
E?
everything you like.
He's
nothing
the
you don't,
derivative
you know
What
what
do
I
you
mean?
go by?
I go by whatever you want to call me.
Well,
I'm
that
not gonna
works
bore
out
you
because
with
I
the
keep
Honey
changing.
most of the time.
I keep
Donnie
changing what I call him.
DC, whatever you like.
Aw, I
Sweetheart.
just calls him my sweetheart. I had a
Oh,
massive crush on Donnie
guys.
Cody when we were in high school.
Locker buddies.
I'm still going to put it out there that this Josh Morgan character on the other side of the board, I can have him gone in her.
Well,
You say the word and I am out. Ring, forget it.
if he wasn't the glue in this entire operation,
Yeah,
I might take you up on it.
I've
But I know
heard-
how this works.
yes, exactly.
He
Right?
really
You're
is.
lying to us, right?
He's all the departments. He's
He's
the,
everything you
the guy
want.
that mops me up at the end of the day, and the producer, and all the
Right.
stuff.
Aw.
We homeschool together, and we have a
Aw.
production company. All those things, all the things together. Yeah, he is.
Amazing.
Well, you're right. But Donnie, I'm just saying. Yeah.
Listen, I've
There
loved
is
since
a-
we met. We've always had laughs.
There are-
and now
there's a
here
training-
you were, and here I am.
There is a training program that would ease you right into the. I'm just saying. Anyway. So of course, Donnie Cody is also brilliant music. Donnie's a brilliant musician, and
you
I
so
have
much.
heard we were away for a really long time, so I missed out on all those performance years when you were with 709, all those things. So I'm
Yeah.
so glad that there's a band now.
I know, it's amazing.
That there's actually an opportunity for Donnie to sing.
And this
I love
project's
that.
been something that Rich and I have been working on for 10 years as of February.
Yeah,
10
it's
years.
crazy.
2013
Seriously?
is, well, we met that summer, and literally within 2 hours of, well, we met in the past, just a quick, but then we
Sparks.
reconnected. And then as soon as we met, within literally a day, we're literally at his house, creating music, wrote a song in an hour. He'd already been working on the music, which is typical. Rich already brings all the musical prowess to the situation. But then it's sort of, we lead the writing together, and where the melodies go, we take that together. And then the songs just create songs at night, and it's been that way for 10 years now.
Tell me about the musical background, because not everybody wakes up with knowing where the music's going to go, the key, harmony, all those things. So what's your background in music that you know, that you have the language when you sit together?
Yeah, well, it's funny because we both kind of had different lanes in terms of the styles of music that we listened to and what we were writing, but it was kind of like opposites attract, and the types of music that we played intertwined in a really cool way. It was almost like a hybrid, and we were creating new sounds that we hadn't done on our own, and it was more exciting. There was something to spring off of and to grow, and it just became something after a while. We started with an RPM challenge,
Right.
Wow.
and it ended up turning into a full-fledged band.
There's a crackle. I don't know if you can tell from the video or if you're listening on CHMR, of course, the Mulberry Creek Hour, which happens every Tuesday, 5 to 6 p.m. There's a crackle. There's like a you know, when cold air meets hot air, and it just, there's like electricity in here. So the album, of course, what is the album called?
Well, the album we released was called Signal as an RPM, and then Rich moved home again from being away on the summer of 2018. And he called, yo, moving home, can I stay at your house? Yes. And that night, we started recording the second album. And we proceeded to do that, but then we put it out on January 20th, and it's a collection of some of the songs from the RPM, but a whole bunch of new songs that we wrote, and that's called Response to Signal.
And they were all remastered and reimagined and brought up to where our current frequency was.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that language.
So
I absolutely love that.
The best of both of those recording projects in one. And then, of course, hello, where were we in 2020, pandemic times?
So let's get into it again.
Yes, we're like, let's start recording some music. So then we started last summer to record, and recorded 6 songs within a couple of months, and we've been sort of just dropping one out. We used to go out at the end of last year.
So check that out on iTunes.
Yes,
iTunes, yep.
we used to go out, and and it means a couple of things based on pandemic energies and a whole bunch of ways to take that song.
Yeah.
It could be an ex-relationship.
It's all about perspective, such as life.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then we released Moonlight, which came out a month ago.
Yep.
Another single, and we have a Slim Macho remix that we're putting out. It's like a club mix that we worked on with Slim.
Love that song.
And we love that. Oh, he's the best.
And then our next single will be called "In the Dark," and that's going to be one of the songs that we're going to be playing for you.
Fantastic! Jesus just laid this on my heart. You know how all of us. So you know when you're like meeting people downtown, you're walking in front of the LSP Hall, especially. I don't know why it is there, but like you run into other artsy types, and everybody goes mwah mwah. And sometimes my non-artsy friends will be with me, and they'll go, "Are you like best friends with them?" And they're, "No, I don't even like them actually." You know that artsy thing that the folksy thing we all do, where we're like, "It's so good to see you. We should totally do a project." We say that, but you guys actually did it. Like you guys. So what can you tell me about frequencies and energy of when it's meant to happen, when the energy is right? Tell me about the flow of that.
I mean, all I can say is to give Rich the ultimate compliment as a collaborator in music. It's like riding a crazy carpet down a hill backwards in the dark. I mean, like we come into the studio, we don't know what we're going to be doing, what's the energy, what's the lyric, what's the beat, and then we just start mixing it up. And it's that way. There's no other way to describe it.
It's funny because it's kind of like the way of life, really. It's the way that I and now we do everything, which is like be in the moment, look at each step as it comes. Don't worry about like what's the fastest route here, what's the side door. If you do it this way, you'll always be first on top.
And we've had songs that took months to really get to where we like them, and other songs happen within a day or two. And you know that process.
Oh. How do you see the songs when they come out? Do you see, like, do you have visuals? Do you do music videos? Or do you see people, like, doing the dishes at home? Do you see them on the way to a rave?
Rich and I often will write a song together, but then later we'll both disclose, well, when we wrote the song, I was writing it about blah. And he'll say, really? Because I was thinking back on this experience, like IOU, which is the song we're going to play with you now.
That's the other one.
It's the other one we're going to do, yeah. So that's one of the first ones we did during the RPM. And Rich has had a very intimate passing of a family member. And so that song is literally about standing on your own and embracing that situation.
And redemption for the lost one.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
But,
And that's not what you had in mind, basically.
Well, no, it's interesting because it was a same church, different pew. It's about sort of the energy of that song to me at the time was about having a conversation with someone who you wish you could have it with, you know? So, like, you know, it's a different color.
Wow.
But sometimes a song we'll come up with together are totally different backstories based on our own crazy ongoing lives.
But that's art, right? You
Exactly.
create it. I know Joel Hines said this many years ago. He said, when I write something, once it goes out, it's not mine anymore.
Exactly.
It's how everybody else interprets it. And
Exactly.
so we've had people come up to us and say, "Oh, Jimmy Glenn reminds me of," like, "Oh, it was about my brother." Sorry, and people share, like they really open up when they're connected with you, right?
That's
Because
the
there's a
power of it,
frequency.
right?
That's the thing, and they might be saying something completely different or hearing something completely different, but you do connect. So, do you see visuals? Like, do you see?
Well,
Yes.
if you look at the end of my headstock here,
Boom.
you'll see that we've kind of created our own little world. Essentially, each song can be a certain chapter of this kind of like otherworldly adventure
Yeah.
Oh, that's
of
gorgeous.
these alter egos that we have
Yep.
in this galactic landscape.
Yeah,
You know,
album one was like we meet, and just like in true fashion, we met so quick and started creating music together so quickly that the arc of the RPM is that we meet and we instantly find out that we have to leave Earth, and so the whole album, it has a theme of us saying goodbye to everybody and preparing to leave. And of course, what did we do for album number 2? But we wake up on the other planet after the abduction moment. And so one big mystery, if you Google that or go into YouTube, we worked on a animated video for that single. And
done by
it's
Mark Vian, who is a DC comic
amazing.
artist.
Literally that.
Actually.
Yeah.
So all the illustrations you
Where
see
are
in that.
you going on YouTube to find this?
Just go eras, one big mystery, and it'll come up. And so we got funding from Music NL, which we love, and we created this video we're so proud of.
It's like old school comic animation. So it's like, remember Astro Boy?
Oh my God, yes.
Like Spider-Man back in the day,
yeah.
where it's not full fluid motion, but
It's just like eras to us is like using different, times, of different styles of music
Yeah.
throughout history to kind of like rebuild our present
And making a new one.
and make it a new
Yeah,
one.
every song will sort of maybe remind you instrumentation-wise or arrangement-wise. There's always an energy of an era gone by in every song that we do, and we love that, right?
Which we're all still communicating with, right? Like they're all there. They're all still there, and sometimes they kind of creep in at 4 o'clock in the morning and say, like, "Hey, I wasn't finished with this song. Can you put it out?"
Exactly.
Did I just freak you? Was that too much? Was
No,
that too
never
loud?
enough. Never enough.
I have 100 more questions, but I want to hear a tune if that's okay with you
Yeah,
guys,
sure, yeah.
because that's what the people are here to see, right? So, tell us, what's the song called?
Will we do IOU?
No, we'll do In the Dark
Let's do
first.
that
Into the
first.
Dark.
This is a song we're going to be putting this out in the next month or 2 with the other songs from the EP.
I love
Which
it.
will be out.
I love it.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Who really takes the time, let it unwind and think about love? At the end of the barrel tip of the flashlight looking for love. Who really takes the time, let it unwind and think about love? At the end of the barrel tip of the flashlight looking for love. Some will go crazy, others wild. Some will go the distance, others smile. Taking it or leaving it, taking it or leaving on the mile. Love is a flickering light, and sometimes blinding, and others in the dark. It's a flickering light, sometimes blinding, and others in the dark. Let it unwind and think about love. At the end of the barrel tip of the flashlight looking for love. Who really takes the time, let it unwind and think about love? At the end of the barrel tip of the flashlight looking for love. Some will go crazy, others wild. Some will go the distance, others smile. Taking it, leaving it. Taking it or leaving it on the wild. Love is a flickering light, sometimes blinding, and others in the dark. Is a flickering light, and sometimes blinding, and others in the dark. Some will go crazy, some will go crazy, taking it or leaving it, taking it or leaving it out. Some will go crazy, some will go crazy, taking it or leaving it, taking it or leaving it on the wild.
I have a word, but I'm not allowed to say it on the radio, so I'll say the southern equivalent. Dadgummit. Oh my God. Oh my God. Heartthrobs. Seriously. Oh my God. That harmony? Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. That is absolutely fantastic. We're going to take a break so I can go cool myself down.
I need a mic for 1 minute.
Yeah. There was a whistling thing happening.
Was there?
Thank you so much.
I could hear something, but I don't know if it was that or what.
Full on
Production.
Yeah.
It might have been like
everything we're doing now.
Dude.
We're actually
Okay,
going to
guys.
like revert
Hang
back.
tight 1 second. I gotta read something.
Oh.
Spring 2023 marks our 10th Record Fair NL event, featuring over 50 tables with tens of thousands of LPs, CDs, cassettes, and memorabilia. We'll also have social and kids areas, food, drink, and more. Record Fair NL is one of the largest and best events of its kind in Atlantic Canada. Our vendors offer a wide array of titles exclusive to the event and something for every music lover and collector. Join us in celebrating 5 years of Record Fair NL at our biggest and best event yet. See you there Sunday, May 28th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., St. John's Farmers Market, 245 Freshwater Road, St. John's. Admission is $2 or free for children 12 and under. For more info, email recordfairnl@gmail.com. Back to you.
Thank you.
There we go. We got 50 seconds and we're back in.
Great. So, yes.
So the albums are on iTunes. Are they on Bandcamp or anywhere someone can buy them?
All platforms.
All platforms. So
All
can someone buy it?
platforms, yes.
Once
Was that in the dark or into the dark?
in the dark.
In the dark.
That felt good.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Sounded really good.
What we're saying, we always, all our songs are full production. So this is us figuring out how to play our fully produced songs that we make as we're making them acoustically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
And they're all
engineering
fun.
it.
Perform 'em.
stuff,
So you
yeah.
perform 'em.
So it's a bit
Yeah.
different. Like they change genres almost.
It's like a Mayer album. Do you like the acoustic versions or his fully produced studio? I think everyone would say something different.
Yeah.
So it's cool for us. Like in the back of my mind, I'm like, could we
We can do a
acoustic
full-on
breakdown?
laser
5
and light
seconds.
show when you do
5
shows.
seconds.
We
Where
can
a
do
lot of
that
it's
too.
the pre-recorded stuff.
That'd be great.
Go on. That was Into the Dark from Eras, and you're missing out if you're not here in the studio. Let me tell you, you should start your own show and ask these guys to come on. You're missing out. I'm just saying. That was gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Thank you so
So I do have a question because in Donnie Cody's other life, of course, he's a marketing genius.
Oh my God.
He really is.
Your
Like,
lips to God's ears. You know?
Oh,
Thank
well, it's
you.
true though. Like DC Design House has been around for a very, very long time. Of course, it feels like that because we're older. We graduated from Gonzaga a really long time ago. But DC Design House has been around a long time ago, and for a long time. And it's not really a surprise because you're just a creative person, and you're that artsy, creative energy, manifesting all that great stuff all in one place. So
Thank
tell
you.
me about how difficult, how is it an obstacle, or is it like does it flow when you want to get this in people's ear holes?
Oh wow.
Are you able to apply what you know about marketing to your own band?
Ever heard the label or the expression "you can't read the label from inside the bottle"?
Mm-hmm.
So, like in my day-to-day life, projects big and small of every type, from a website to a full-on campaign, public relations, God knows what, right? And so the airplane takes off, and I have a timeline, and it lands when I need it to land. And that's how like life is for me.
Mm-hmm.
Music is a very different thing. and that airplane, God knows when it's taking off and where it's going, and is it in the Bermuda Triangle, and where has it gone, and now it's landing, oh wait, no, now it's doing a lap around the airport and it's gone again. So that's what the music journey is, and I love that because it reminds me not to be so rigid and disciplined around the creation of commercial art.
Big time. And I think metaphorically speaking too, it's like it's easy to give suggestions on other people's children until you have your own.
Yes.
And so then it's like it's really you know, it's a different thing and it's more meaningful to you, and so it's okay for us to both be taking this journey together into the unknown. With high hopes.
Exactly. And yet the perfectionist in me and the business part of me is like, when is that airplane going?
But we need that too.
It's hard to tame that child in the room. It's hard to quiet that child in the room.
Especially that child is me.
There's a lot of them yelling all at the one time. So what I'm hearing from that, and I don't know if Josh, if you heard it or not, but what I'm hearing is that DC and Rich need like a marketing manager just as much as we need for Mulberry Creek, because it is I find it a big challenge to, like, I know what we're doing, I know sometimes it hits and it feels great and all that stuff, but how to communicate that with others. Now I can sell anything for anybody else, but as far as our stuff, it's like I see people on TikTok, for example, releasing a new song, and I don't know if you saw, what was that song that I was obsessed with a few weeks ago? It was the girl, the producer, she was at the music board. I can't remember.
I can hear it, but I can't think of the name of it. Yeah, it's in my head.
Anyway,
say it again.
Say it, didn't I hear you? The wrong era. But it's so she did, like, these people, these young chippy little girls, you know, mostly girls. Actually, Louis Capaldi does it too. He'll do like a little clip of his song, and it's so banger. Like it just nails you, and it's like, oh, I want to hear the rest of that. Oh, it's his song, and like I'm doing that for myself or for stuff that we release is like, where do I start? Now I did do one on TikTok. Chinchilla. What's the name of the song? She's only got one.
Say that again.
Say that again. I was on my way to my dad's house, and there's a song on here called "Lonely Strings" that is about a young girl and her dad. Not necessarily mine. In case mom and dad are listening, it's not about my dad. It's about anyone. It's universal, and it was a co-write with a couple of other people. But anyway, what's my point? What's the point?
When you hear something on TikTok,
so I did a TikTok thing where I was on my way to drop off a birthday gift to my dad, and I was like, so I'm going up to give him a copy of my CD, and Lonely Strings is on it. I should not be saying this on the air. Your parents are listening. But I did. That was the only thing I could say because it was like vulnerable, and it was. But I don't have the marketing brain for our own stuff, and I find that to be.
Listen, sometimes it's hard to monetize your way of life, and that's okay. But when people understand you around you, that can look into the other side of it, which is the financial side of it, or the monetization. That's important too. But I mean, like, to bleed on paper and then look for a cheap sale rate for that, it's hard.
But also at the same time, we are lucky to have a bunch of amazing music marketing professionals. David Shears, Michelle Robertson are two names. And there's so many more incredible artist, manager type, marketing minded people who know how to dig into what you're doing, find that unique amazingness, and then do the administrative and the unique creative around getting that out there.
To let you play in the sandbox and continue doing what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, what you got to be doing is just playing those shows and showing people all this energy that we just let off, right?
So that feels like trying to find a proper daycare to me. Like when you have given birth to something, which I use this analogy a lot because it really is something that didn't exist before, and now it does, and your tools brought it through. It's like trying to find something to take care of your babies, which you treasure, and you work so hard, and you pray, and if you're into that or whatever, like you really visualize really great life for them, and you don't want someone to come along and mess it up or try to make them grow faster than they need to be. Like, so forcing it out on a timeline or bastardizing it. Exactly. Like you don't want it to be cheapened. No. So finding somebody that you can trust with your babies or your music or your books or your whatever the creations are feels a little like, oh, what if we get into it and it becomes like it's not comfortable. Like, how do you comfortably get back out of it? And is there a way to smoothly get back on track? And that's all totally negative. I get that.
Once it's out there, it's no longer yours. And what an honor it would be for someone to find any of the songs, whether it's for Stereotype I've recorded or Rich for You, for Terrors, or Temples, and it would be so amazing if someone else ended up giving your song new life after the fact. Because music should live forever.
Yeah.
There's Donny Cody.
But
that's the magic that is Donny Cody, because he has a way of plucking this stuff out of the. You can give him a heaping pile of whatever, and he can pick out the beauty in it
You're
and
the
say,
same.
you know what, here's a way to look at it.
Well, I think we're all
And-
the same.
I'm always giving them heaping piles. Always picking flowers out of it.
What I find every time I have a conversation, there's always like a nugget that sticks with me for a long time afterwards. One of them is zoom out, which
Oh, yeah.
I use that one now all the time. Like, Donnie Cody, if he was here, he'd say zoom out.
Yeah.
Because when you're looking at a bigger picture, things kind of fall into place a
You
little.
have
And
to put your
so,
laser pointer away sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. We can get very focused on whatever it is, but zooming out allows us to give pause for the moment and also to see it from a bigger perspective too.
absolutely.
Love
And
it.
so I think, I don't know if it was, there was some famous person, I'm thinking Jerry Seinfeld. He had a picture on his studio, in his dressing room when he was on Seinfeld, and I think it was like a satellite picture. There was two different opposites that I found at the same time. One of them was a satellite picture where he said, nothing we do matters. So just have fun, like just do the thing. And there was someone else that had like a zeroed in picture, and he said, my God, I feel like there's a microscope on everything I do. So it's vitally important I get it right. But they're both two different perspectives. So you pick which one you want. You want a satellite view or
Or a little blend of both.
so
living the
maybe,
gray.
or finding someone around that'll keep that view for you, to keep you on track. And
Hey,
keep,
there you go.
I love the expression that don't sit too close to the ballet because it loses the illusion.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll sit back every time.
Sit back. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I'll sit back. If something you get too close to something, it's not what your romantic mind thinks it is when you're squinting at it. You know what I mean?
That's so funny because sometimes when I go to certain particular shows, I'll sit up front so they're sweating on me. And it's not the same.
No.
But I will go back to a history that I have with hockey where you can sit next to the glass, and when they get bashed up against the glass, the sweat hits the glass and it doesn't hit you, and you're in the action like you feel like a hockey player. So it's kind of so maybe they should have those plexiglass walls up at concerts so you can be up front and the sweat's not hitting you. I don't know. That's just-
Remember the movie Roadhouse with Jeff Healey, how he played behind the chicken wire in that crazy bar?
The beer bottles would fly through.
Yeah, that
I
would
love
hit
it.
him.
I love
You
it.
know?
So, Donnie, you're still involved with the George Street Festival, right?
Yeah,
Speaking
George
of concerts and
Association,
stuff.
yeah.
So, the George Street Association has a absolutely massive set of lineup
unreal.
this year.
It's
How do
unreal.
you guys, tell me about that.
Well,
how
all
does
the
that-
credit goes to the board and the work that they do and the connections they have. And there's a reality around touring acts, and Rich and I talk about this a fair bit. Because, some folks have to get on the interwebs and complain about who's not coming and who they wish was coming and why aren't, this and why isn't that. And the reality is there's, who is actually releasing an album, who's willing to go out on tour. Because if someone's in between album cycles worth seeing, they're not trying to come out for onesies. They're on tour, and then they're gone again. So that's the first reality.
So let's pause there for a second. You're saying that if I wanted to see Stevie Nicks, you can't just call her up and ask her to go out and do one concert in St. John's, Newfoundland? What?
No, the price is right.
Well, I mean, there is a really cool band coming that I'm really excited about called Half Moon
Oh my
from
God,
Montreal.
so excited.
And we kind of like share a little bit of their vibe too, so you never know, we might rub shoulders with them.
Well, we will.
Yeah.
I love
And so
having
tell
them
me,
on.
you had another point after that.
Oh yeah.
About
So
the
yeah. So
interwebs.
there's who is willing to tour.
Yep.
Who happens to be touring in Eastern Canada, and then who is willing to actually come over to the island.
yeah, 'cause
And
that's
the most easterly part. So there's
the
three-
12-hour steam from the
Boom.
from the main.
So I have
three
a
levels.
fourth level for you.
Oh, go.
And this goes back to, I have to use it every now and then. I have to mention this because I don't use it in any other part of my life. But marketing degree, communications degree, and then I did master's in adult education.
Mm-hmm.
I never get to use any of those things. Tell me about the business side of it and the supply and demand. If people are buying tickets to go see the same guys every single year,
Right.
why? Like, if nobody showed up, you'd stop booking them. Correct? The
It's more of a
association.
sure bet.
But you wouldn't book them if people weren't selling tickets. So it's a fact
Sure.
like that, and Iceberg Alley runs into the same thing.
Sure.
Those shows are selling out. People go have a great time. They have a few
Yes.
drinks. Everybody's making money,
Yeah.
and that's what it comes down to. If you want to hear bands that you love, you can listen to them on the radio. But as far as going to a live concert experience, it is a product, and you're not going to put something up there that's not going to sell out.
That's true.
Right?
No, I agree
There's a
with you.
business side of it.
Huge, and they
That's
do a
my
great job.
expertise. That's my expertise coming in.
Brilliant. But that's it, because you're right. It's if folks are coming out, they'll keep coming, and so I think it's exciting and so good.
And some of I know that the big one I've seen was the same, and it was the same thing at the Mount Pro Festival a few months ago, and then Iceberg Alley, and it's like there's a trad night. And everybody loves the Navigators. How do you not? Everybody loves Shannigan.
True.
So if someone's coming home for the summer for a trip, they want to see Shannigan and the
exactly.
Navigators and the Irish Descendants and Celtic Connection. I mean, that's what they want to see. So that's why there's a show. So maybe I don't know what the solution is to make everybody. Donnie,
that's
in
not
any
bad.
of your life, have you ever made everybody happy?
That's not a thing.
It's not a thing, right?
No.
That doesn't exist.
My advice to you is
Even if you
feel
zoom out.
like you
How far do you have to zoom out to make everybody happy?
Uranus, and I'll just leave that there. Yeah, I'll just say this: if you want to get on your keyboard and complain about who's not coming, then don't come see the band you don't want to come see, and save yourself 5 minutes of putting negativity into the world.
Absolutely.
Peace be with you.
Absolutely.
And also with you.
Oh,
Thank
man. So my 12-year-old discovered an algorithm. I'm going to get your opinion on this. He discovered an algorithm on YouTube where if you put a comment on somebody's page and you like your own comment and you go, this is terrible, dislike other people's comments, your comment gets thousands of reactions. Likes, not dislikes. And I'm like, no, there's no way that that's possible. You can't put that kind of negative energy out into the world and have your stuff blow up. It's been working. I hate it.
Well, you know what? Sometimes when you use the dark side of the force, you get immediate results. It doesn't mean that they're going to last.
That's right.
Ooh, that's right.
You blocked.
We just finished all the Star Wars movies.
I love Star Wars.
Oh,
I love Star Wars. Because like bringing balance to the force isn't about killing the dark side or the light side. It's about being great, baby.
There was like 3
Be
movies
great.
where they were like, he's going to bring balance to the force, and we're like, we know who that is. It's Darth Vader. And it's like, right?
Yeah.
I love this. He's awesome. Oh man,
Yes.
we're big fans of Rich here in this room. I'll tell you. So how about you guys do another song if you're up for it?
sure.
Would that be okay?
Let's
Tell us
do
about
that
this
on
one.
you. Talk about it, Jenny.
Yeah, this song very emotional for us because of the meaning behind it, which is why we wrote it. And like I said earlier, same church, different pew, but this song is definitely about looking back on a relationship and what it gave you and where you are now because of it.
Yeah, and kind of like completing the circle for them and giving them redemption and the rest. Sometimes to be a hero, you're unsung, but that's okay too. We're
We'll
gonna sing this song.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see what you did there. Okay.
Okay.
get an applause thing.
Oh,
We had
wow,
one of those
yeah,
apps that does the applause thing. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, I heard some different stuff in there, but which is what happens, right?
That's right.
That's amazing. Absolutely gorgeous. And my favorite thing, I think, in life right now
That was
is...
very like Soundgarden, like 90s. That was my childhood, my high school years there, man.
yeah.
I was zoned out.
Dude, awesome, bro. I'm so happy that we do that because, listen, that's where we came from too. And that melancholy sorrow, that angst.
Oh, yeah.
It's all in that, man.
Big time.
Tell me, so you guys are just adjusting to performing it because you've been doing whole big productions on the albums, of course.
Yeah.
So what happens when you guys are doing a show? Are you going to have backing musicians with a whole orchestra and a whole wind section and percussion? Are you going to have an AV team to have, what's the plan when you do?
Ideas.
Yeah, so I mean, we plan on trying to perform this music in any way possible, in any medium form we can.
Yep.
So from big production, full 5-piece band with light show, to me in DC with one acoustic if we can't fit 2 in the car. And that's what we'll do. And everything in between.
Because I have like laptop keyboard arrangement for the full band, but here we are acoustically, I'm on my guitar.
Right.
So we're learning to perform all these songs from the ground up, but then with full production behind it, and
be malleable.
Yeah,
Be welcome, my friend.
Yeah, because the bigger it is, the harder it is to organize and orchestrate and execute. So 2 of us at its core, amazing, and then when we have our friends gather around us to perform them full on, even better.
Yeah.
Do you have any shows coming up? Anything planned? Like you haven't done album releases.
No, and it's been such an interesting reality. RPM, we were so excited to throw it over the finish line at the end of the month. We're like, peace. Yeah. And then years later with this full-on album, Response to Signal, which is up on all platforms now, we didn't do a release because pandemic shut it down. Literally the month it came out, we ended up in shutdown volume 2, right? And then for this EP, we're ready to roll, but we want it to be right. Yeah. And dropping singles is so much more beneficial to the listener.
The pot.
Yeah, because like they're not having to consume a full-on 10-track whatever. We're giving little bite sizes, but yes, we will have. And there are some event organizing friends of ours who are asking us to play in their shows upcoming. So we're just waiting for it to be right and to have an hour of music that we're ready to rock. And then boom.
But don't worry because this summer is coming up.
It's gonna
I love that.
It's gonna be great.
So Josh comes from he doesn't have a microphone over there, but he came from a punk background. He was actually, they had an little indie punk band when I met him, and they were in North Carolina, and he moved to Canada with me. So I'm kind of the Yoko of 25 minutes ago. But Josh's background is in doing punk shows where there was like 2 and 3 groups would play, and they do like an hour each kind of thing. And I'm more like, I've played 3-hour shows downtown. I don't like it at all because I don't have 3 hours. I don't have 3 hours, and I end up getting into a whole lot of covers, which I'm not crazy about. Someone said to me when I first started playing out, you're not going to be able to play on Door Street with originals. And I was like, tell that Sean Painting. Right? So
that's just them telling you their woes.
Exactly.
Well, that was the reality of it, and it wasn't real. But like it is that idea of having bands play, and so not that you're an opening band for the headliner. It's really that there's like, you can come see your band for an hour. You can see the full hour set, right? And you're getting the quality, then you're not getting watered down. I got to figure out how to play to the 1 o'clock crowd because they're drunker than the 9 o'clock crowd.
That's right.
So we've been kind of thinking about doing some stuff like that too, where we're either doing songwriter circles with our friends like Gary Smith and Jared Waterman, and also with shows that I'm seeing myself these days as an octopus. I don't need to have my hand in everything. Yeah. It's really nice to delegate and so Josh has a background in that kind of stuff. So if you want to get in touch with Eras and see if they'll play a show with us, go on. It won't be me. It won't be me getting in touch with you. It'll be Josh. But those and songwriter circles too, because I adore hearing the songs behind the stories behind the songs as they're written. Because it just connects you. Ron Hines shows.
Oh my God.
He'd tell how the song was written, and then you're in love with him for the rest of your life. Right? It's just.
You're nervous. When you get up there, sometimes you're nervous to be vulnerable and open up and talk to the people. You think they're only there to hear you sing the song, but they want
the story.
Yes.
Because it's the frequency and the energy that you're sharing. It's like, where was I when I wrote it? Where am I now? And you never know what's going to connect with people, but when you turn your dial, because you set the tone, right? You do set the tone, and it's broadcasting terms, but when you set the tone, it goes out into the world. And not everybody's going to have the radio turned on.
That's true.
Right? And you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but for some people, you're a real shot of tequila. There's it's going to be. So I'm.
Blanco.
So Eras, and so you can check those guys out on all the platforms and look out for some shows over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I got a hunch. I'm just going to predict this. I got a hunch that there's going to be some shoulders that rub this summer that is going to be like, yeah, of course they're touring with whoever. It's one of those things, right? Because it's all, but it's like it's chipping away on the marble. It's already there, and it's visualizing what you want, and and you guys need to be again another gem here in
That
Newfoundland.
just tickled me on the inside.
I'm here for you, baby.
Oh,
So I wrote this one. This is on the new EP. I've got copies for you guys.
Thank you
And
so
of course,
much.
when you come onto Mulberry Creek area, you also get a mug, which is
oh,
fantastic.
we got
so
them
you're,
right here, baby.
so you're thinking about us all the time. Like I'll be with you in the
Check this out.
morning and in the evening, even at supper time.
Talent.
So the new EP that came out a couple of months ago, this one, there's a bunch of stuff produced by Corey Tedford on there.
Mm-hmm.
This was for a TV show we made that was called How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking, and then ironically, it failed. And this song was for that when we were going to do a video for this. And so that is coming out now in book form, and we're going to release the actual show that they did not like in Ontario, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Not everybody in Ontario
They're
loves
bland,
Newfoundlanders, but there's
not
lots of
yet.
them up there that do love us.
Yeah.
So
They're spicy over here. We'll like it.
so this is Loser Anthem. It's for all the people that get back up after after they get knocked down, right?
That's right.
That's
Dust
the
off,
whole-
baby.
Dust it off, because it's not about how many times you get knocked down.
No, exactly.
Exactly, right? Okay, so this is Loser Anthem. This is one for all of those that told me no, for all of those fools that said I shouldn't say so, telling me to slow down when I just want to go. Whoa, 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 whoa. If you don't get a tingle up the back of your spine, no regret in the morning, did you even have a time? You all want a story while I'm still writing mine. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm getting older, but I don't have to age. Tell my mother I'm still going through a phase, earning every wrinkle upon this happy face. Whoa, 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 whoa. While it's still beating, listen to your heart. 'Cause each fall down's another chance to start. Each fall down's another chance to start. Sneaking backstage just to get an autograph. Maybe if you start a band, you get the last laugh. Hard to hold a candle when you're running in the rain. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is one for all of those that told me no, for all of those fools that said I shouldn't say so, telling me to slow down when I just want to go. Whoa, 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 whoa,
That was exactly what I need to hear at this time in my life.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you, darling.
We're in the same boat, man. We're in
Yeah.
the same boat. And rising tide, rising all the sayings, right?
All the expressions, yes.
What an amazing! I can't believe it's over already.
Ah.
Oh my God, I could keep going today forever. What a fantastic experience it's been. Thank you to Perry Chafe. Thank you to Richard Sepka and Dan Cody. Oh my God, Eras. Make sure you check them out. Make sure you check out Perry Chafe's book. Make sure you get out all the albums. So there's three. There's 2 albums and an EP
On the way.
from Eras, and of course check out the shows. Make sure you get out to the shows and get the music for when you're just hanging around the house doing the things, because this is good energy to attach yourself to.
God, yes.
And
Soundtrack for life.
it absolutely is, guys. It was an absolute honor.
Thank
to
you
be
both
here.
so much.
Amazing.
Love
Love your
Absolutely
show.
amazing.
Keep it Creek on.
Make sure you listen to the Mulberry Creek Hour. We're on every Tuesday, 5 o'clock on CHMR. I'm Vicky Morgan, and thanks to Josh Morgan. He doesn't have a mic right now, but I'm sure he'd say see ya.
See ya!
And we'll see you next Tuesday. Yeah. Every week. I know. Loves it. See you next Tuesday.